Logan Brice had never been more terrified in his life. He was clutching the edge of the bathroom sink, gasping for air, and feeling the world tilt beneath him. Pain unlike anything he had ever imagined shot through his body. And yet, no one was there. No partner, no doctor, no nurse. Just him, the cold tiles beneath his feet, and a secret his body had been keeping from everyone, including himself. Logan was a 31-year-old transgender man living in a quiet suburb of Ohio. To the outside world, he appeared as a complete man. His face, his build, the way he dressed and walked, everything screamed masculinity. On his identity card, it clearly stated he was a man, and even his name, Logan Brice, left no room for suspicion. Only his partner, Reeve, knew his secret, and they both kept it hidden. They feared society's judgment, the whispers and glances that could follow if anyone ever knew. Logan lived with Reeve, a cheerful and calm artist, and together they had carefully built a life where this secret remained theirs alone. They had big plans for the future, saving money, starting their own business, exploring opportunities, but pregnancy was never on their list. Logan had been on hormone therapy for years and, like many in his situation, believed that pregnancy was impossible for him. He wasn't a stranger to medical checkups. Over the years, he had a few minor issues, a stomach that sometimes protested against late-night snacks and occasional dizziness, but nothing that made him suspect anything truly serious. Their lives were planned, organized, and predictable, until nature decided otherwise. It started subtly. Logan noticed he was always tired, more than usual. His stomach felt bloated, but he dismissed it, thinking it was just too many fast food dinners or stress. Then came the nausea, light at first, which he chalked up to a stomach bug. A few weeks later, the bloating became sharper, the nausea more persistent. Logan finally went to see a doctor, Dr. Maloney, a general practitioner known for efficiency, if not empathy. After some basic tests, Dr. Maloney shrugged and prescribed medications for stomach irritation and acid reflux. Logan left the clinic unconvinced. Something in his gut told him this wasn't just acid reflux. But he didn't push further. With his busy schedule and daily stress, he stopped visiting the doctor. Days turned into weeks, and the discomfort didn't fade. Odd cravings began: pickles at midnight, orange juice with an odd bitterness, even cold cereal with hot soup. Logan laughed it off, thinking it was just stress or a weird phase. His partner, Reeve, noticed the changes. "You're eating like a teenager again," Reeve joked one evening. But Logan only shrugged, brushing it off. No one considered pregnancy. Not them, not the doctors, because it seemed utterly impossible. Logan's hormone therapy should have prevented it, or so they all believed. By the third month, the bloating became undeniable. Logan could no longer ignore it. He revisited Dr. Maloney, hoping for answers. Tests were run again. Ultrasounds, blood work, the usual battery of checks. "Everything looks normal," Dr. Maloney said, frowning. "You may have gastritis or early digestive issues. Try these medications. Come back if it worsens." Logan left feeling frustrated, confused, and worried. Something in his body was changing dramatically, and no one could tell him why. At home, the signs grew harder to dismiss. Logan's belly was expanding, subtly at first, almost like a gentle curve that he tried to ignore in the mirror. Clothing became tight in unusual ways. His partner commented, casually, "You've put on a little weight lately, huh?" Logan laughed nervously, deflecting the concern. Even though he was aware of his body, the idea of pregnancy never crossed his mind. They hadn't planned for it. Pregnancy seemed impossible because of his hormones. The notion simply wasn't in their mental map. It happened on a quiet Sunday morning. Logan had woken up with the usual mild stomach pain that had been lingering for weeks. But this time, it intensified rapidly. He tried to call Reeve, who had stepped out to buy groceries. Logan's phone slipped from his grasp as he doubled over in sudden, unbearable pain. Panic clawed at him. His body, which had been whispering the truth for months, was now shouting it loudly. With no time to reach the hospital and no one around, Logan ran to the bathroom, barely making it to the cold tiles. That's when the contractions hit, sudden, strong, relentless. Alone, terrified, Logan realized something impossible had happened. Something no one believed could happen. He was in labor. The hours that followed were a blur of pain, panic, and disbelief. As he struggled through each contraction, fragments of memory flickered in his mind. He remembered that one night, a few months ago, he and Reeve had been intimate, and in a rare, intimate moment, his body had been fertilized naturally. Because of hormone therapy, pregnancy had seemed out of the question. But the body had ignored expectations. Nature had played its own game. And now Logan was delivering a baby that no one suspected existed. It was excruciating, lonely, and terrifying. Each wave of pain brought Logan closer to the truth. His muscles burned. His breath came in short gasps, but he refused to panic completely. Somehow, he remembered techniques he had read in books and articles: breathing, positioning, pushing strategically. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the cries of a newborn filled the bathroom. Logan collapsed to the floor, exhausted, overwhelmed, and incredulous. He held the baby in his arms, tears streaming down his face. This tiny life had been growing inside him, silently, without anyone knowing, and now it was here. Just minutes later, the sound of the front door opening echoed through the house. Reeve walked in, humming softly, carrying a bag of groceries, completely unaware of the storm waiting inside. He called out, "Logan? You okay?" There was no answer. A strange, uneasy silence hung in the air. Then, as he stepped closer to the bathroom, Reeve froze. There, on the cold, tiled floor, was Logan, pale, trembling, sweat streaked across his face, and cradled in his arms was a tiny, wailing newborn. For a moment, time seemed to stop. The world outside the bathroom didn't exist. Reeve's mind raced, trying to make sense of the impossible. What happened? Reeve stammered, panic making his voice crack. Logan's chest heaved, his body shaking with exhaustion and relief. He looked up at Reeve, eyes wide and glistening with tears. It's our baby," he whispered, his voice barely audible, trembling with disbelief. The words hung in the air, surreal, almost like a dream neither of them could wake from. Their minds tried to reject it. Hormones, medicine, years of belief that pregnancy was impossible. And yet, here it was. A tiny life, born in secrecy, defying every rule they thought they knew about biology, medicine, and their own carefully planned life. Reeve's knees buckled, and he sank to the floor beside Logan, hands trembling as he reached out to touch the baby. A wave of emotions crashed over them both. Fear, awe, shock, joy, and disbelief all tangled together. They had never planned for this, never imagined it. And yet nature had written its own story, a story that no doctor, no test, no hormone therapy could have predicted. In that moment, the world outside didn't matter. Everything else, the plans, the fears, the judgments, faded away. All that existed was the tiny, fragile life in Logan's arms, and the impossible truth that it was theirs. When the doctors were finally called and examined Logan and the baby, they were stunned. They confirmed that Logan had indeed been pregnant. A natural fertilization had occurred despite his hormone therapy. The pregnancy had progressed quietly, hidden beneath months of misinterpreted symptoms. The medications he had taken for stomach issues hadn't masked it completely, but no one thought to investigate further because pregnancy was deemed impossible. This was a rare, almost impossible medical event, one that defied expectations and challenged assumptions. Logan and Reeve had to adjust to a reality they never imagined. The experience was shocking, exhausting, and miraculous all at once. For Logan, the lesson was profound. The body can surprise us, even when we think we know its limits. Symptoms should never be ignored, and sometimes, life has a way of proving us wrong in the most unimaginable ways. For viewers, the takeaway is clear. Life can be stranger than fiction. What seems impossible today might just become reality tomorrow. And when your body sends signals, listen closely, even if the truth seems unbelievable. Would you have believed Logan's story if you weren't seeing it unfold? Could you imagine delivering alone and discovering the truth in such a terrifying, unexpected way?